up. Turn on your camera real quick to let us know that you can hear me. Awesome, thank you. Just wanted to double check. Thank you so much, appreciate y'all. Thank you for joining. Just to reconfirm, this is the information session on the Aura Lab at Spur program. This is the first of 2 information sessions. We'll have another one later in the month. We will be recording this, so if you have to dip out early, no worries. This will be available, and you can always email me to ask any questions that come up for you later. So if we don't get to it today, or if you think of it later, don't worry about it. I'm still around. So yeah, we're just going to cover some of the basics and mostly give you all an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. So yeah, do some brief intros, give you an overview, just set some expectations of what the Aura Lab at Spur is going to be like this summer, and then just chat about next steps. So my name is Dr. Courtney Nye. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Associate Director for the Office of Undergraduate Research and Artistry, also known as Aura. My office is right over there. For those who are online right now, my office is in Johnson Hall. And I'm on campus a lot of days. You're always welcome to visit me and come ask me questions here. Or I said you can email me, and I'm going to be the program coordinator / instructor for the Aura Lab at Spur for this summer. I've been running the Aura Lab at CSU or at the Fort Collins campus for the past 2 years. So I've done a number of iterations on the Aura Lab, and I'm really excited to expand it and make it a much bigger program down at Spur and to get folks down at Spur. Dean, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Dean Klinkerman. I use the he series pronouns. I am the communications manager for TILT, which fits in the umbrella with Aura. So the question of like how you all found this, how you all got it, how this is going to work a little bit logistically for you is very much my side of things. The science, learning all of that, I'm happy to leave that to all of you.
Yeah, you wouldn't have found out about this without Dean. So he's been instrumental for this program, because that is not my strength, I can tell you that. Cool. So what?
Okay.
So Aura, so our office, we were put together to really support student engagement in both research and artistry opportunities at CSU and beyond. And so the Aura Lab is just one of many programs and resources we offer. There are a number of different resources available for you on our website. We offer workshops, free workshops. We offer free meetings with student ambassadors who are doing research at CSU and can meet with you and share their personal experiences and tips on how to navigate research at CSU and beyond. We have things like a lunch and learn. If you're interested, it's on Friday, and if you register in advance, you get a free lunch as provided as part of joining that information session on some of the resources that we provide. We also do things like helping you prepare for conferences, and we support a number of other research and artistry activities as well, such as the Celebrating Undergraduate Research and Creativity Conference. That's in April. So just a quick pitch for all of the other things that we offer. So if the Aura Lab at Spur ends up not being the program for you, there's a ton of other stuff we have available as well. And I support all of those other things. So you're welcome to chat with me about that as well. All right. One of our collaborators at CSU Spur, you'll end up seeing him quite a bit over the summer. His name is Jim Bradeen. He is the Associate Vice President for Strategy and Collaborations at Spur. He knows pretty much all there is to know at Spur, and we're excited to be working with him over the summer. And he's really helping us get set up down there, which is great. So the reason why you are all here is because getting engaged in undergraduate research is a really, really useful experience. So it's not only great for building lifelong skills that you can take to future careers, but you can also apply it in your future courses as well. Even if you don't end up going into a research profession, there are so many skills like communication and developing critical questions and how to visualize data. These are the types of skills that you will learn and you can learn in a research setting that are useful throughout anything you end up doing, working with scientific teams and whatnot. So no matter your major and no matter your prior experience and no matter your goals, undergraduate research is a really, really helpful experience to have. So I'm excited that you all are here and interested in it. For the Aura Lab in particular, we have designed it to be affirming, validating, and to help you connect it to your personal identities and experiences. So I am not a scientist who says your identity is irrelevant to the work that you are doing as a researcher. I am actually the type of scientist who says all your prior experiences and the identities that you hold, the assumptions that you make, your biases, all of that actually does influence the science and the research that you do. And we will spend some time this summer talking about that and exploring that relationship as well, but also giving you opportunities to make deliberate and intentional connections to your own interests and your career goals, and thinking about, how does research and lab work apply to what you want to do, and making sure that this is more personalized and customized for you and who you are and your goals. So for the Aura Lab at Spur program, as I mentioned, the Aura Lab does run here at CSU in the fall and spring semester, but the Aura Lab at Spur is a bit more of an expanded program. So you will be paid, if you're accepted into this program, you will be paid to participate in a 10-week research-focused program. This program is currently for CSU students only, and one of our goals is to really strengthen your relationships to CSU staff and faculty, and also to the resources that are available to you through CSU, such as everything that's available down at Spur. We're going to divide the Aura Lab at Spur into 3 major phases. And so the first phase is a foundational training, and that's about 2 weeks long. And this is what's most similar to the Aura Lab up here. So during those 2 weeks that will be largely spent with me, and you will be developing skills in the lab. You'll learn how to use micropipettes, you'll learn how to use a pH meter, a spectrophotometer. You'll do a lot of skill building, and then you'll spend time doing an independent experiment and designing an experiment yourself using the materials and resources that are available to you in the lab. You will use that to design and carry out your own experiment. And so this is all great prep work for then the second part of the program, which is working with a research mentor for 6 weeks. So all the students who are part of this program will end up working with a research mentor. There are several different groups down at Spur who are going to accept students into their labs, and you will work on one or more of the projects that they have going on in their lab. And so this is real research, real work that's going on. They can't even always tell me right now. They're like, well, we're not actually sure like what stage this project is going to be over the summer, right? So we can give you a general idea of what's happening, but because this is happening in real time, you're going to be involved in real research that's happening down at Spur, which is very exciting. So you'll work with them for 6 weeks. And then during the final 2 weeks, you'll be back with me working on a community engagement piece and scientific communication. And so we'll be thinking about how do we translate the research and the work that you were doing with your mentors into something that can be shared with the general public. How do we make sure that the research and the work that we're doing in these labs is benefiting the greater community, whether that's through demonstrations to raise awareness or increase engagement in research and science, or whether that's coming up with like informational flyers, or whether that's, hosting a webinar. There are all different sorts of ways that we can tie that all together, but we'll spend some time intentionally thinking about science communication and what that looks like for the research group that you were working with. And this will culminate in a final showcase down at Spur, where you'll get to share what you've developed and your experiences working with the research groups over the summer. Throughout all of this, so you'll be specifically with me for those first 2 weeks and those last 2 weeks, but then I'll also be working with you during those other 6 weeks as well, having check-ins, and we'll be developing skills that are not lab-based as well, like how to write an abstract, right? How to read scientific articles. So we'll be doing those sort of other skill building activities in addition to the lab and research work. So we have some pretty big goals for participating in the Aura Lab at Spur. So we want students to gain a better understanding of the purpose of research and its relevance to your own lives and communities. We want you to develop skills and knowledge that you can apply to future research experiences, learning opportunities, and careers. And almost most importantly, we want you to develop confidence in your abilities to conduct research and feel empowered to pursue future research opportunities. We want this to be a launch pad for many other opportunities, right? So this is a stepping stone to other exciting programs, whether that's a summer program or working in a lab during the semester, or whether that's graduate school or vet school or med school or dental school or whatever after your time at CSU. So this can be used as a launch pad for many, many different opportunities. So the timeline, so the priority application deadline is the end of the month. And because it's a leap year, you get an extra day. So it's on February 29th. The application, I think most of you might have already filled it out already, but it's not meant to be like super scary or take a ton of time. I'm not looking for you to like write a novel in response to some of those questions. It's mostly so that I can get a better understanding of who you are and why you want to participate in this program. And then we will conduct interviews and do the selection process in March, towards the beginning of March, ideally. We will be reaching out to set that up and to chat with you to, again, learn like a little bit more and make sure that the program is a good fit for you and you're a good fit for the program on both ends. And then the program itself runs 10 weeks from June 3rd through August 9th. So you'll have a little bit of time off after the spring semester ends. I think you'll have like 2 or 3 weeks off. And then there is a week's time in between the end of the program and the start of the fall semester. So it doesn't take up your entire summer. There are breaks at either end. And as I mentioned, those first 2 weeks, you'll be doing training with me, followed by those 6 weeks working with the research mentors, and then the 2 weeks on the community engagement piece, and then the final showcase on August 9th. So some common questions that I've been getting from other folks. CSU students with any major can participate. We've had students in the Aura Lab who are computer science background, who are business majors, who are art majors. Anyone is able to come in and gain something from this program as long as you are motivated and enthusiastic about participating. We are tailoring the program as we go, or tailoring, the activities that I am doing with you to really meet anyone where they're at, right? And so how far you end up going in terms of the skills that you develop also really depends on like how much do you want to learn in the lab at any particular time, right? So like some students might decide to really deepen their knowledge of using the spectrophotometer, right? And come up with additional questions and things that they want to explore. You can totally do that. And I will help you figure out how to do that. Other students might be like, well, actually, bacteria growth is more relevant for my major and for my interests. So I'm going to spend more time working on that and developing my skills on that. Also totally fine. So I'm here to support you in whatever it is you're interested in pursuing, as long as we have the supplies to do it. But just know that any major is totally welcome to apply. You do not need to have prior lab or research experience in order, as I said, to get something beneficial out of this. Unfortunately, at the moment, lodging is not provided this summer. That is something that we are working towards for future summers, but for this summer, we do not have housing. So ideally, you will already have daily proximity to the Spur campus, whether that's with friends or family or other sorts of lodging down in Denver. So you're not making a long commute every day. And why it's important to be in that proximity is because you will be expected to be on site from 9 to 5 every day, or roughly those hours, because we will be paying you for 40 hours of work per week. We'll be paying you hourly, and this is like a full-time job. So we will expect you on site working with us from set hours every 5 days a week for that 10-week program. Because it's a job, you're not receiving course credit or a grade. But you will be paid hourly. And as I mentioned, like I'm not grading you. Thank goodness for me. But that also means that you will have to hold yourself accountable, right? Like, again, this is you can do tremendous things in the Aura Lab, and I've seen students get wildly creative with some of the things that they have done. But it is up to you to decide how much you want to push yourself and how much you're willing to take advantage of the resources and opportunity that this program presents for you. And in terms of supplies that you might need, we will be providing you with a lab coat and goggles if they are needed, and any other safety wear that you're going to need while you're on site. There will be some, standards, like we'll ask that you have closed-toed shoes on when you're in the lab, and either long pants or skirt or dress that like covers your ankles. But beyond that, we will try and provide as much as we can for you, so you don't have to purchase anything new.
Pay $18.29?
Yes, and the pay is $18.29 per hour, and you'll get that for 40 hours a week for 10 weeks. So we have a number of different research groups on board already who are going to be accepting students. And I'm just super jealous of all these really cool labs that you could work with. So one of them is the sensory lab. And so this group focuses on sensory science, and that can involve, taste testing, that can involve smell. And so they're actually paid to run all sorts of tests and experiments on behalf of like other companies that want to know information about sensory information and how it interacts with different products. So they have a lab set up specifically for this at Spur, which is really, really cool. There is a food safety group at Spur, and so they do a lot on testing the quality testing of different products, of different food products specifically, and they're looking for different pathogens, bacteria, other sorts of things that might be present in food, and helping to certify it and make sure that it passes all the necessary food safety and quality checks. And finally, there is a horticulture and landscape group at Spur, and what you're seeing in that photo there is the rooftop greenhouse, and they also have a rooftop garden that's outside of the greenhouse as well, and they have projects for students on evaluating growth of raspberries and chili peppers that are being grown under solar panels. So they're investigating, they're thinking about how solar panels are being installed on roofs all across Colorado, and how can we take advantage of all the space that's underneath those solar panels, and what can they do in terms of crops, which is really cool. And then their other project is utilizing insect manure to research the benefits of fertility treatments for different crops, and how that impacts growth rates and quality of the products, and etc. So doing different testing on that. So those are just, that's not even all of them. So that's some of the types of projects that you could get involved with during this program. So in terms of next steps, if you haven't already applied, I ask that you apply through the Qualtrics form, not through Handshake. So I know there is a Handshake posting, but I need you to actually apply through the Qualtrics form. So just use the Handshake to get to the Qualtrics form. You can learn more information on our website that Dean is constantly updating as we get more information from our mentors, as we find out more information from Spur and the partners down there. I will say that this is the first time we are running this program down at Spur, because Spur is pretty new. And so we are figuring out a lot of stuff as we go. We're building this program, not from scratch because we've been running it here for 2 years, but implementing it at Spur is going to be very different because I'm not used to working in those facilities. So as I, secure more information from them, we will be updating it on the website as well. And then again, if you have any questions, you are welcome to either stop by my office or send an email to me. Do folks have any questions at this time? Yeah.
So I know over summer, I've got a vacation planned
Mhm.
personally. How would that work with this? Would I need to not be on the vacation?
Sure. I would need to know how much overlap there is, in terms of timing.
I'm pretty sure it's smack in the middle.
In the middle. Okay, I mean, we should chat about that. So include that in your, if you've already submitted an application, then include that in the interview so
Gotcha.
that I'm aware.
Sounds good.
And those things happen. And so that's a great thing to go on vacation. So don't want to exclude you for that, but yeah, just being aware of like, how do we plan around that
Yeah.
and whatnot,
Okay.
totally.
Do you get to pick what like lab you work with or like,
You'll get to indicate your preferences.
Okay.
I can't guarantee that everyone will get their first choice. So you'll definitely get to do, like, you'll learn more about the project that are available, like closer to that date. So we have a more accurate representation. But yes, you will get to indicate like, this one is most relevant for me and I'm most excited to do that. Certainly.
Do you know when we find out if we get accepted?
Sorry,
Oops, my bad.
kind of with that, like when we join a lab, are we creating our own project or are we kind of joining?
You'll most likely be joining an existing project that's going on. It's dependent on the lab. But from the most part, like you're going to be joining the existing research that's ongoing right now.
Okay,
They might have like a specific question within that they're asking you to help answer. So they might be like, we're investigating this particular aspect of this project for these 6 weeks, but generally speaking, it'll be part of like a larger study or a larger effort that's already going on.
and then with like the 2 weeks at the end with like the outreach
Yeah.
project, is that through your lab or is that like separate?
It'll be, so we'll be collaborating with the lab. And so, you know, what they're interested in terms of like outreach and whatnot, we'll take that into account for sure, right? Because I want to use this as, you know, an opportunity for them to get advertisement, you know, and to share, like help them engage with the community as well. But like we as a team would end up working on that together and thinking about like how to best do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat.
Great.
It says, I know Spur has dorms/apartments available for students. Do you know how we'd go about contacting them to be in those for the summer?
Yeah, so unfortunately, those are not available over the summer because they are filled by one of the vet programs. So those are not actually an option this summer, unfortunately. Because I can't see. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any other questions?
There are no other questions at the moment.
I had a question. Do you guys know when we would find out if we get accepted?
Any other questions here?
I was just curious about kind of the structure, especially for those first 2 weeks. Like, is
Yeah.
it more like classroom
Mhm.
style or more
Question.
like,
Yeah.
or does it kind of like overlap?
Yeah, so not like classroom. It's much more what I would call maybe like problem-based learning style. It's very inquiry driven. So it's going to be interesting because I still have to adapt it a little from how the Aura Lab works here. But it will be more about like, we'll learn a skill perhaps together or maybe in groups. And then there will be an activity for you to do to practice that skill. And then there will be options for you to expand on it, right? And so that is where you'll get to play around quite a bit and decide like what you want to do and how you want to extend the skills that you're learning to new contexts. I do not generally, there might be one or two, but generally speaking, it won't be like a chemistry or bio lab. There won't be step-by-step instructions. There will be, you know, this is generally how it works. Let's figure it out. Or you try some things first and then let's troubleshoot. Like it's going to be very much open-ended and not super structured.
Okay, so more
And-
just like by like application.
Yes, exactly. And part of the reason for that is because that's how research is. Research, you go in and sometimes you're making up new protocols as you go. Like you are literally coming up with new experimental techniques and there's no guidebook. There's like no instruction manual on how to do that. Sometimes you'll get an instrument. You're like, I know that the instrument does this, but I have no idea how it works. So we're going to read the instruction manual together to figure out exactly how to make this work to collect the data that we need. Right. So like we're in those first 2 weeks, we will be mimicking more authentic like research experiences that are a lot less structured.
Okay.
Great question.
Another question online. When do we find out if we get accepted?
Yeah, so that will hopefully be around early to mid-March is when I'm hoping to finalize all of those details.
I think potentially a goal of before spring break.
That's the ideal, but I
Potentially.
will not confirm anything yet. You just never know how these things will go. So if I end up with 100 interviews, then I don't want to promise that I will get back to folks before spring break because 100 interviews will take me a much longer time to get through than a week.
Speaking of, do you know how many people you will be taking?
Up to 12.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep, up to 12 total.
Is it like fairly competitive?
That is an excellent question. As this is the first iteration of it, I truly cannot say, because it is based in part on who continues to come to the interviews and who, yeah. Yep. I don't want to give you a false sense of it's super competitive or like you'll all get in. Like I'm genuinely not sure yet what the interest level will be like. Cool. Any other questions? No? Awesome. Well, thank you all for coming. Hope to see you all in interviews in the beginning of March. And yeah, like I said, let me know if you have any other questions. Yeah, share this with your friends. And yeah,
Reach out if you have questions.
yeah,
Cool.
cool. Thank you all.
Awesome.
Thank you.